Okay, are you a fan of Liam Neeson? Are you a fan of shows like Dual Survival or the show with Bear Grylls? Do you like frozen environments with lots of stress? Do you like Ridley Scott films? Then by all means you have to see The Grey. Pretty much Liam Neeson is a guy who works for an oil company, and they're outside in the middle of, Alaska. And his job is essentially to snipe and sharpshoot wolves that may be attacking people who work on the pipelines. He's also relatively depressive in your initial observation of what he's doing. And then it's their last day on the camp, so they all get onto a flight. Probably one of the worst experiences you'll ever have on a flight. And then it crashes. And it's not one of those like, it just all of a sudden happens. This is a loud, chaotic experience like you'd expect, with a plane crash. And there's only a handful of them that survive. And now what they find out too, that they're in an area with wolves. Now before people go, wolves don't attack people. They do throw in the caveat that, wolves patrol an area about 300 square miles, and 30 square miles is where they really patrol from their den. So they don't quite know if they're near the dens, they're being territorial and being more defensive, or if they're actually a pack of, rogue wolves actually going to kill people. So they've got most of the people who work on the site are either like ex-cons, so pretty much not the most let's work as a group tra-la-la sort of people. So you have the interpersonal tension. They're pretty much stuck in, the worst of the wilderness. When they're walking, it's snow up to like knee and sometimes even mid-thigh. So it's freezing cold, the people really don't get along, and they're slowly being picked off one by wolves. As you can pretty much tell, when somebody dies from wolves, either they show them being killed, or when they show their body the next day, they kind of show a decent amount of carnage for it. So there's a lot of tension. Some shots with the wolves are a little bit more on the cheesier side. When they're holding the torches out, you see them all, it's a big line of them in the brush. Kind of on the cheesier side. They can't use real wolves for most of these shots, so every now and then you'll notice that a wolf doesn't quite move like the rest of them. So then it's either, an actor in a suit, or, while those moments are pretty few and far between. Essentially, this is a vehicle entirely for Liam Neeson. Part of the trifecta of Neeson that we'll have this year, with this movie, the Clash of the Titans 2 movie will be Zeus again, and Taken 2 as well. For part of the scenes, he got to draw upon personal experience, and those scenes are probably some of the most difficult to watch, because there's a lot of raw emotion. Now, the ending is going to polarize people. I'm just going to say that flat out. But I'll be honest, it's a very, very solid movie. This is a movie you should probably see, like the evening show, or you catch it on a matinee. It works kind of on either direction. If you see it for more of a matinee, and if you don't like the ending, you won't feel as burned. When this movie ended, some people stood up and said that it was kind of BS and it was a horrible ending. I left going, it's the most logical ending you could have. So, again, this is a Ridley Scott film, since I show the bird for Scott Free. And if you've known anything about his movies, you have a pretty good idea of how this one's going to end.